Alrighty, guys. Good evening to you all. It's been a fun-filled evening so far, tracking severe storms in the UP. We're delayed 2 hours with this briefing, but we're finally here, 10 o'clock. Welcome, guys. Let's go ahead and pop out the chat here. See who's all in here. Got Ashley, Brooke, Matthew, Natalie, Dawn, Christine, Leslie, Pickle Jar. What's up, guys?
Let's go.
We have a few things to discuss regarding tonight, primarily focusing on tonight's severe threat. We're going to mention Monday, tomorrow as well. Confidence is a little bit higher tonight for sure than it is tomorrow. Let's go ahead and start with our typical SPC outlooks here, issued once every about 4 or 5 hours here, or once every 6 hours typically. We have a marginal risk extending all the way up to right around Mount Pleasant, Big Rapids area, over to Saginaw into the Thumb, and points southward to the border of Indiana and Ohio. A slight risk, level 2 out of 5 in yellow there, all the way down toward the southwest portion of Michigan, places like Berrien County, Van Buren County, Cass County, as well as St. Joseph and parts of Branch County as well. You guys are in the highest risk tonight. And as we're looking at current data and stuff like that, it does appear to be on track to impact those areas primarily. But otherwise, jump into some models here in a second. Overall risks tonight, number one is going to be damaging winds. That's going to be your primary driver of the slight risk. There in yellow, 15% probability corridor there for the exact same counties I just listed in Southwest Michigan. But a risk does extend all the way up to Mount Pleasant, Saginaw area as well. Looking at the secondary threat, large hail would become a concern as far south as you can go toward the 94 corridor, the very southern row of counties in Michigan, all the way from Monroe, Lenawee, Hillsdale, Branch, St. Joseph, Cass, and Berrien counties. Tornado risk tonight is low but not zero, especially for southwest Michigan there in the green shaded areas. So the exact same counties I've been mentioning, list those off again: Branch, St. Joseph, Cass, Berrien, Van Buren, and perhaps extreme southwestern Kalamazoo County as well. Okay. So tonight we're going to call all hazards are possible, especially farther south and farther west you go. Looking at the model and looking at real-time radar, first of all, the radar currently looks like this across the lake into Wisconsin, Illinois. That's what's coming our way. We have Michigan over here. This is tracking our way. A lot of severe warnings, some tornadic warnings popping off there across Wisconsin, Illinois. Most of these warnings, though, are for 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's what we're kind of watching here. It'll arrive over here at the West Michigan shoreline right around that midnight time frame, give or take an hour or so, probably closer to midnight, if not just a bit after midnight. Okay. Looking at the future model now, going back to our model screen here, looking at a few different solutions. First off, the HRRR model run. We're going to zoom in here because we're talking about the lower peninsula. We can zoom way in here to our lower peninsula look. This is going to be the complex here as it develops across Wisconsin, Illinois, congeals into a line and pushes east-southeastward across Lake Michigan into the West Michigan area. This model at this point says 1 a.m. expected to arrive between probably midnight and 1 a.m. time frame. And that continues to push eastward across the area. And that also develops a little bit further on the backside, on the north side of that as well. Tracks all the way across the east side of Michigan, reaching Detroit areas by 5 in the morning, and then does clear the state with just a couple pop-ups to the north of that by sunrise tomorrow. Now, the model does not show this being a very potent line coming through. It is supposed to weaken, but still, severe wind gusts are primary concern here, as well as a few mesoscale features we're going to watch here, mainly the MCV. An MCV is a localized area of spin or low pressure that could help drive this and sustain this to last a little bit longer than usual. The MCVs on these complexes are typically on the northern edge of these systems. For example, but right about here would be an area to watch for an MCV as that tracks eastward. So as that tracks eastward, we'll be watching that northern edge of that for development, as well as additional development around that MCV if one develops, which I do believe there is one currently out there in Wisconsin. I'm seeing a little bit of spin there. Not fully developed yet, but I do think there's one developing there. We're going to watch that closely. Okay, that's your HRRR model. Your NAM3 model has a very similar solution. Go ahead and zoom back in here to our floater look. How long it's going to last out is going to be the main question here. There's your complex pushing across Lake Michigan. It arrives on the West Michigan shoreline roughly around that 2 a.m. time frame on this model. It'll be likely closer to 1 a.m., if not just before 1 a.m. That's going to come all the way across the areas here from 96 corridor south. It does look like it weakens a little bit on the south side of that, but continues to strengthen on the north side of that toward Lansing area. That pushes eastward across the 96 corridor into the Flint area and again, northern Metro Detroit area. So, takeaway from this two models combined here is a bow echo, a squall line is expected to push through the southern portion of the state. Damaging winds will be a concern, large hail a concern further south. Tornadoes would be a concern as it first comes on shore in the very far extreme portions of southwest Michigan. All right. So again, your SPC outlook is as follows. Slight risk in effect there for Berrien, Cass, St. Joseph, Southern Branch, Southern Van Buren, and extreme southwest Kalamazoo County. A marginal extends all the way up to Mount Pleasant, Saginaw, and also the Big Rapids area. All right. Further north, we're watching some storms cross Lake Michigan right now. Although those are weakening, they should not be impactful for you guys up there in northern lower. So if you're up there in northern lower, eastern UP, it should be a fairly quiet night. All right. That is your general synopsis for tonight. Let's go ahead and jump into tomorrow. I know there's a lot of people talking about tomorrow. Number one, there is a slight risk in effect for a good chunk of lower Michigan, as well as an enhanced risk for the extreme southwest counties, Berrien and Cass in Michigan. Outside those areas, the entire state is within a marginal risk, which is the lowest risk we can get in dark green. So the entire state tomorrow under a severe risk. The hazards tomorrow, number one, damaging winds. Same exact areas have the exact same probabilities with damaging winds. Yellow areas and also the red areas are the higher concerns, but the brownish color does indicate a lower risk exists. Now, this black hatched area down here in southwest lower indicates severe winds, significant winds over 75, or sorry, up to 75, Severe winds over 70 miles per hour are possible, sometimes higher than that, in the black hatched area tomorrow. That is due to an expected bow echo that's going to be impacting portions of the region with a very juiced environment. I will say this right now. How tonight plays out with these storms tracking across Lake Michigan right now, how these storms interact with the atmosphere will dictate how tomorrow's risk plays out. Now, if everything goes according to plan here, which probably won't happen, honestly, with these types of setups, we could be looking at a very, I'm not going to say significant severe threat tomorrow, but a very potent severe threat tomorrow, but only if certain things align correctly. Right now, models do not appear to be too concerning, but again, these things can ramp up and ramp down very quickly. We're going to watch and we're going to update as needed tomorrow. So jumping back in here to your SPC outlook for tomorrow, SPC has slight risk all the way up to Big Rapids, Ludington area, down over to Flint, down toward Monroe, and points southwestward. An enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5, exists Berrien County, Cass County, as well as parts of Van Buren and St. Joseph County there. That's going to be your highest concern. Your threat tomorrow, damaging winds, large hail, a concern as well, but there's also a 2% tornado risk with a 5% knocking on our door down there in Berrien County. But the 2% does come up a little bit further north and a little bit further east as well over into Hillsdale. It reaches also southwest Lenawee County as well, up into Allegan County here, as well as Kalamazoo and parts of Calhoun. All right. So all hazards possible once again tomorrow, but I will show you guys the model here. You guys may look at this and go, well, nothing's being shown, but that's pretty typical with these systems as things can ramp up and ramp down quickly. These models have a terrible handle on future convective outputs here when we have multiple systems working through like tonight. All right. So the model tomorrow does show these storms working out of the state roughly by sunrise, a few pop-ups up there, perhaps by the Houghton Lake area. And then after that, our attention turns over here to the west, over here somewhere in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. That's going to be the area to watch for any development. If we get storms further north here, they may track more southeastward into Michigan. Right now, though, models are saying this complex develops further to the south here across Iowa, and it dives even further south across Illinois into parts of Indiana, but also notice how the UP has storms up here as well as northern lower. The NAM model coming out now. Haven't looked at this yet, but I'll go ahead and go over this real quickly here. There's tonight. We just looked at that. Tomorrow's risk, again, Looks like storms develop up there in the UP, and looks like a more potent squall line on the NAM 3 model comes through. This is the first time looking at this honestly here, so we're going to go ahead and take a zoomed in look here at our lower peninsula look here. These storms come across the lake at this model after 10 p.m. Might be a little bit earlier than that, but it does bring what looks to be a decent looking bow echo across into our state tomorrow. All right, so that's why that enhanced risk and slight risk is in effect. Overall confidence, though, I'm going to mention this one time very firmly. Overall confidence tomorrow is extremely low. Anything can happen. We could have a bow echo push across our state. Yes. Could it dive south and miss us? Yes. We have no confidence right now, but the potential is there. The environment is looking fairly good.
Could it go north? Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of things are possible here, guys. All right. So we'll keep you guys updated, starting with tonight's severe threat. We'll be covering that all night if we have to. But again, that entire line really across Wisconsin is becoming warned for wind. That's going to be our primary concern here. And again, expect arrival tonight on West Michigan from Grand Rapids south, roughly around midnight, probably just after midnight. All right. That is your synopsis, guys. I know it's a lot to take in. We're going to do our best to communicate these threats to you, but just bear with us. We'll keep you guys updated as best as possible. But all we can really say, stay alert. We mentioned this many times, past couple of briefings on our page. Things change quickly with these setups. So best you can do is stay alert. Make sure you have ways to receive warnings. Make sure you're keeping tuned in to either our page or however you get information on weather from. Just stay vigilant. All right.
I will say, Ryan, there's also, with the training back and forth systems here, we could see a potential flooding threat come in tomorrow as well for Southwest Michigan, as there is a slight risk for tonight and tomorrow from the Weather Prediction Center. For that potential excessive rainfall. 2 to 3 inches are possible in Southwest Michigan, top of the fact that the soil is already very saturated down there. And also shout out to Bob with another 10 gifted memberships here, MSC, here on YouTube. So if you are a subscriber here on YouTube, it's free to do. And check your account. You may have just been gifted a membership, 30 days, courtesy of Bob. Thank you, Bob.
Yes, thank you, Bob. Appreciate your support. Welcome to the team, guys, who just got gifted. Timing map is posted on Facebook. It is pinned for tonight. And for tomorrow, we're not going to post one until our confidence is high enough to warrant posting of a timing map for tomorrow's storms. So if you want that timing map, it's on our Facebook page as well as Twitter. Although I can bring it in here if you want me to, Joel. I can go get it off Facebook.
It's up to you if you want to.
Might as well. We got 1,000 people in here, so go ahead and grab it real quick.
Yep. And it is also on X as well. If you guys have Twitter, or X as it's called, you can find it there if that's convenient for you guys. At MI Storm Chasers. It's also conveniently the tag for our TikTok and our Instagram account as well.
Is it safe to say I can go about my day tomorrow and bunker back down after sunset? Yeah, definitely a later evening event. Main threat for tomorrow, for sure. So most of the afternoon should be on the drier side for a lot of us tomorrow. All right, here is the timing map for tonight. It's also on our page on Facebook and Twitter. So those white lines, actually got to take the banner off, Joel. We can't see the time frames on that, unfortunately.
Nope. Yep, I got it.
Okay. So on the bottom of your time frames there, so expect arrival as early as 11:30, but it's likely going to be a little bit after midnight with current track and projections. But right around that midnight time frame, then 1 a.m. there toward Battle Creek, toward the Lansing area, expect it closer to 2:30-ish, 3 a.m. Further east into Ann Arbor area, expect it right around 4:30. On the east side toward Detroit, expect it after 4:30, between 4:30 and 6 in the morning. That is your timing map. That should be as fairly close to those time frames.
Oops. Same idea.
A chance of expansions, upgrades, downgrades, all on the table for tomorrow. Very fluid forecast. I would not rule out anything. The threat for tornadoes tonight is low, but not zero for Van Buren.
Yep. We sometimes do forecast updates on TikTok. It may be future home of me dancing and getting the word across for some reports too. We'll see. More of a casual account over there. There was no tornado in the UP. It was just the warning said tornado possible.
Yes. We do
right now, there's still special weather statement in effect too. That's why we have the banner displayed at the top for Gladstone or whatever.
I see a comment here about chasers. We do have chasers tonight in Southwest Michigan, so we should have some feeds perhaps on for you guys. We'll see though.
Yep. Good question from Brittany. Why doesn't the lake at night eat these? So we have what's called most unstable cape. So there's a lot of cape that's not just surface based, but also elevated in the atmosphere that kind of just goes over the lake more in an elevated nature. And then once it gets back on land, the land's a little bit warmer. And so it becomes more surface based once again. And so that's going to be kind of the case tonight, potentially, if we see some of those damaging winds mixed to the ground. Convective outlook can shift between now and tomorrow for sure. But if you are in Southwest Michigan tonight, so that's Allegan, Van Buren, Allegan, Van Buren, Berrien, Cass, St. Joseph, Kalamazoo, and Branch counties, you guys are at most risk for damaging winds. South of 96, basically across the rest of the state, damaging winds could traverse the entirety of the state. It just depends on exact track of this Boeing segment, which right now is currently in line to track kind of just south of 96. But we'll have to keep an eye on it because the models have been flip-flopping.
Yep.
So east side of the state's going to be more of a probably after 3 a.m. time frame tonight. As it could be as late as like 6 or 7 in the morning, so around about when the sun's coming up. And we'll have to see how that affects tomorrow night's development as well. Wherever it throws out a boundary is where the severe tomorrow is going to set up. So if it's like considerably dives south, that means tomorrow's stuff's also going to dive south. And so we could see pretty much the entirety of the state tomorrow miss out. But again, with tomorrow being an entire risk across the entire state, including UP tomorrow, I was looking at the NAM there, Ryan. I noticed that there's a couple of strong storms moving across in the NAM as well in the northern half of Lower Peninsula.
Yeah, I see that too.
So we'll have to keep an eye out for potential other Boeing segments more to the north.
It'll be a fun forecast. Not really.
I will say right off what I'm seeing here is that's closer to the center of the low, I believe, because that's going to be the cold front tomorrow, right?
Tuesday's the cold front.
Okay. Well, either way, it looks like there's some sort of low up there. Yeah. And closer to the low, we have a lot more helicity. And what we could see is we might see maybe more of perhaps a supercell or two up there in northern lower tomorrow. Just kind of throwing that out there right off the top of what we're seeing. But that's preliminary, and that's based off positioning and stuff. We probably won't do a watch party tonight. We're going to try and take a break. And these storms are projected to move onshore right about when the watch party would start.
Draw a line in 96. I can do that for you. This is I-96.
Nope. Once it gets to Lansing, it dips south. 69 crosses there towards Port Huron. 69, 96 cross each other.
Okay, well, that corridor that I just drew on is going to be where most of the severe should stay south of, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, though. It does change in the 69. But yeah, from Grand Rapids to Flint, really.
Yes, we will be reporting on weather later tonight if things go severe.
Yep.
That's just because we're not doing the watch party doesn't mean we're just going to go to bed. We're here for every severe thunderstorm warning, every tornado warning. That is our bread and butter.
If you ever are on YouTube and you see our stream just sitting there for severe coverage, it's not live. It's because we're monitoring behind the scenes, but nothing's currently severe.
Yep. Should also draw lines of what's considered Southeast Michigan and West Michigan, etc.
I think it's.
Are you able to make that a bigger line or no? Or should I just full screen you?
I'm trying.
Try brush with.
Oh my. Oh my.
There it is.
That's better.
There you go.
So like West Michigan, I mean, it varies per person. You can just divide right down the middle, honestly, if you want to do it that way. Here's West, there's East. But West Michigan, tonight we're talking West Michigan, obviously isn't a severe risk here. We're usually Southwest, especially, is more so like right here. That's like far Southwest Michigan for us.
Yeah. Basically south of Grand Rapids and west of a line, Lansing down to Coldwater. Basically west of that.
So like south of 96, which is right here, and then west of 69. So that box.
Yeah.
Southeast Michigan is more so kind of like right here.
I look down, I look back up. Sorry, I look down, I look back up. There's 20 comments. Go ahead, Ryan.
Tomorrow's severe threat will be tied primarily probably late afternoon, but likely going to be into the evening hours, into the end of the night. Worst threat tonight will be likely towards that slight risk area. The models do show a variance of solutions. One model, the NAM, does show development across 96 from Grand Rapids to Lansing to Flint. Other one shows a more potent line further south toward Kalamazoo area. So at this point, we're going to wait and see. The risk is there for a reason. So we can't tell you exactly what's going to happen. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Would be a need for us. But overall, the risk should be highest, especially farther south and west. Damaging wind should be the primary concern. Cannot rule out a tornado, especially in that slight risk area, yellow area.
See the comment, Ryan. Someone's cat was swatting at the screen when you're drawing the lines.
Happy to be entertaining. It's funny.
Yes, Demon makes a great point. Demon Dawn makes a great point. Red Cross Emergency app, one way to receive warnings when you go to bed tonight. If you don't have the Midland Weather Radio, of course, that is going to be your primary mode. Again, also, if you follow us here on YouTube, subscribe to us here on YouTube, which is free to do. Turn on those notifications. You'll know when we go live for severe weather, which will probably be around that midnight to 1 a.m. time frame. If it really starts to slow down, it could be more towards 1, but preliminary is another hour and a half. It's still got to cross all of Lake Michigan.
Yeah, it's pretty slow moving, but it's getting organized now. Once these things organize into their bow echoes, that's when they really start to pick up speed here too. So if we should zoom in here, we're going to see the organization here taking place as it forms a big old line here. So, and look, there's an MCB on the top of that too, near Whitewater, looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have an MCB at play now near Janesville, Elkhorn, Whitewater. That's going to be the focus. This is for both nights. Tonight there's a risk as well as tomorrow night. So 2 nights.
Yep.
So I expect this to I pull up the SPC again.
Yeah, probably.
Just want to reiterate, once this gets into a line here, this is probably going to pick up some speed. So might be closer to midnight. They think if this thing gets cranking, which it likely will. For Monday, here is your Monday risk. And it's not on the screen. Now it is. That's tomorrow's risk. This risk will likely be later on in the evening. We're going to say estimation after 6 p.m. Could be a bit before, a bit after. We'll nail that down. A lot can change here. Again, these are very fluid forecasts. Confidence is low, but the environment does appear to be favorable tomorrow for severe weather across Michigan, all of Michigan.
Yeah, we definitely could see a mesoscale discussion or severe thunderstorm watch. I would say probably by the midnight time frame, if anything, if they do pull the trigger on that, but we'll see.
Yeah, farther east you go here, definitely less concerning tonight, although you are in the risk regardless. The highest risk is going to be over there on the west side of Michigan when this thing first comes on shore. But again, this thing could hold out longer than expected too. That's definitely a possibility. So if you're on the east side, don't let your guard down, but you got many hours before it gets over to the east side. All these risks are wind driven. Yes, Roses. There is small risks for hail, as well as a tornado on both days, especially farther south and west. And again, for both days too. Farther south and west toward that Kalamazoo area would be the highest tornadic threat for both nights.
Warnings won't be issued until the storms are actually ongoing. So the difference between a watch and a warning is conditions are favorable for severe to develop, which means it gives you like a heads up, so to speak. A warning is when thunderstorms have developed and they're putting down those storms potentially with severe hazards going on. So if anything, we'd be seeing watches before the warnings. Can you hear the siren here? It's really loud. Crazy night in Mount Pleasant, I guess.
Want to point this out here. I don't know exactly what's going on with this line, but I'm getting velocity on this line upwards of 80 or 90 miles per hour on the terminal Doppler radars.
In Illinois, right?
Yeah, in Illinois. These are cranking. So hopefully it weakens as it gets closer. Yeah, but it's cranking. just as a reference here.
RIJ.
I'm thinking the RIJ is getting going in it. But these are all severe winds. So hopefully it should weaken a bit by the time it gets to us, but there's a chance it may not. But this is what we're looking at right here. This is Illinois, Wisconsin area again, off of the ORD radar. These winds here, go ahead and take an inspector tool here. I'm lagging hard. I don't know why, but there we go. Yeah, 80 plus in spots, 85 there. So if you happen to have family or friends who live in northern Illinois, this is heading into Chicago Metro. So that's not what we want to see. But if you guys have friends, obviously, in the metro area of Chicago, feel free to send them a text. They got some pretty nasty winds coming their way.
And I will say that's probably smart on their end with the tornado warning there in DeKalb, just to the east of DeKalb. That doesn't look like it's producing too much in the way of rotation. But if you look at that velocity signature, that's basically like what we said back on June 25th, where it's producing, winds that are equivalent to a weak tornado.
Right.
So definitely if, people in the Schaumburg area there heading into suburbs of Chicago and Aurora, definitely let them know.
We'll likely see warnings issued for Chicago here in a second. I do want to mention as well, our partner chaser, Cody, got a funnel cloud in the, doesn't say the area. I think he tweeted it though. I'm gonna go back to his tweet. He's out chasing, I believe it's Illinois today. He got a funnel cloud. Might be on that storm, actually. Might be what triggered it. Palmyra, Illinois. Is that near this storm here? I'm curious if it is. I don't see a Palmyra, but likely some very intense winds coming into Chicago Metro, and that'll push across the lake here towards Southwest Michigan here. Even on the K-Lot radar, we're getting winds here of 70, 80 plus miles an hour here. So that's cranking. All right, back to some comments here.
Ton of red on radar, a lot of rain, huh? Yeah, that is a lot of rain. Sometimes it could be more of a hail threat, but it looks like, given the fact that it's blowing out, it's going to be more of a damaging wind threat with heavy rain. And again, reminder, slight risk for potential for some flooding tonight. Southwest Michigan. Is your thing doing the thing?
My thing is doing the thing where it lags hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to unplug this monitor.
Yes, we could be in a taco watch soon for those who like that algorithm or whatever it's called.
Taco watch, taco warning. Taco watch, we are making tacos. Taco warning, we are eating tacos.
Yeah, something like that. Or taco watch, the ingredients are on the table, ready to prepare tacos.
Yeah.
Same thing for severe thunderstorm or tornado watches. Lansing area, it's going to be probably around that 2 to 3 if it can make it into Lansing. Here's your timing map. I'll take off the banner again.
Got it. You want to screenshot this? Your time frames are at the bottom, associated with the white lines. So Battle Creek area, Kalamazoo, right around 1 a.m. Again, this is start time. It could be a little bit after this as well, especially trending right now. I'm going to say probably add a half hour to an hour to these time frames. As of right now, they could speed up or slow down along the path, but just general time frames here. So 1 o'clock there for Kalamazoo, Battle Creek areas, or toward Lansing, right around that 2 to 3 a.m. Jackson as well as Hillsdale in that 2 to 3 a.m. all the way up to Ithaca, Ann Arbor, Adrian, Hamburg Township, South Line areas, Howell, Brighton. You guys are closer to 4:30, and over toward Detroit area, you're looking probably between 4:30 and 6. So leave it up for about 5 more seconds. Feel free to screenshot this if you can. It's also posted on our X/Twitter page, as well as pinned to our featured Facebook posts.
An MCV is a mesoscale convective vortex, which is like a miniature low pressure system, usually seen on the north side of one of those bowing segments, and also kind of acts as a little area of increased vorticity or rotation. So you could see storms that do develop in that area kind of have a little bit of a rotation in terms of like the storm itself.
Yeah. Actually, I got a really good example of one, I believe. One that literally is developing before our eyes right now across Illinois, Wisconsin area. Up here on the northern edge where you see Janesville, this is where I'm circling over here. Watch, I'm going to speed this up, okay? This is just a typical line, but watch when I speed this up. You're going to see the spin in this area. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to see there, but it's spinning. It's going, it's cranking. That's your MCV. So it's a very localized area of low pressure, and that's going to help sustain these thunderstorms throughout the evening. So it's very cool to see. You can see it more so in slow motion there. You can see it slowly start to spin. When you speed it up, you can really get a good feel for it. Which is worse, an MCS or an MCV? So it depends. MCS is more so widespread damaging winds, whereas the MCV can cause localized intense winds, as well as a localized tornadic risk along and close to the MCV. Typically speaking, on a wide scale basis, MCS is worse because more wide scale on damaging winds. But an MCV can be just as impactful, just on a smaller scale. Looks like we have a watch possible. 60% chance of a watch being issued.
For us?
It popped in on Grand Rapids IEM, so I assume it's proportions of the Grand Rapids. Although the text says Northeast Illinois to Northern Indiana, so I'm not sure what exactly the areas are. Let me see if I can pop it in on COD. It does not mention Michigan, but it does mention Grand Rapids Forecast Office in the MD. So we'll wait for it to pop in here and see where they're thinking with this. Once we have that graphic up, we'll show you. Increasing confidence this MCS will progress beyond the current weather watch, and a new watch may be warranted. So we'll see. I'm not sure, again, what areas they're talking about here. Okay. It includes Van Buren, Berrien, Van Buren, and Cass County, as well as parts of St. Joseph, looks like.
So pretty much right in the same area of the slight risk as you can see on your screen.
Yep. We'll pull it in here for you guys in a second. It'll load. I'm not sure how fast it's going to load. There we go. That red box. It's going to be where they're talking about perhaps a severe watch incoming. So they're thinking it's going to take a more southward dive here. So we'll see if that's the case.
Yep. We definitely could see the watch be outside of the mesoscale discussion for sure as well. So you could see counties around that mesoscale discussion get issued. So maybe Allegan too, perhaps if it gets that far north.
Yeah, Kalamazoo, St. Joseph, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it just depends on if it is going to take a southerly dive like they're projecting.
Right now, it's still tracking east. So,
yep.
Cindy, thanks for becoming a YouTube channel member. Appreciate your support. Welcome to the team, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy.
Get that post on the page. Don't mind taking over for a second, Joel?
Yep. We no longer have any special weather statements in our state right now as well. The one up in the Escanaba area recently expired, although there is a shower down the road from Escanaba right now. That's your current radar update for Michigan, at least. Red is the mesoscale discussion, 60% chance of a watch being issued. That is the red thing you see on your screen. Yes, light rain showers in the thumb. That's what you can see on screen there. We will still see probably a widespread rain, moderate to heavy, across most of lower Michigan, southern lower Michigan tonight. Thunder and lightning could be the main threat if it's not severe winds. Again, these MCSs produce a lot of energy, or they eat up a lot of energy, and thus have a lot of thunder and lightning continuous on these summer storms. And that'll again be the case tomorrow night if we get another one of these MCSs tomorrow night. Yep, we will be going live as needed for severe tonight. If we don't go live at all, that's a good sign.
Yeah, it is.
And we'll post periodic updates on Facebook and Twitter as well for you guys if storms are, projected to move more south.
Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious, what?
Looking at that, storm still cranking out winds in the Chicago metro.
Yeah.
It's got a nice QLCS notch to it. All right. Any other questions for the night?
Oceana County tent camping. That's going to be close. Might get a little wet and might be a little gusty. But severe should stay mainly south of you guys, at least primarily.
Yeah, current track, I wouldn't think Oceana would be on a severe risk unless something develops to the north side of this.
Yes, they're putting the wind in the Windy City tonight for sure. Alny County borderline. Again, what you're seeing right now is your marginal risk and slight risk for tonight through 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Anywhere in the green is marginal. Anywhere in the yellow is slight. And those are probabilities as well. So this yellow is mainly for damaging winds, 50% chance. Anywhere in the green that you see there on your map is going to be a damaging wind and hail threat, 5% chance. And the 2% tornado threat is confined within that yellow slight risk. Outside of that, it is less than 2%. So make sure to tune in to our severe coverage, both here on YouTube and Facebook. If you don't follow us on either of those platforms, feel free to do that. Make sure to turn it on. And I guess the best way to do it for our live streams is probably to follow us on YouTube. Turn on that notification bell. And of course, if you want to see more of us in your feed, make sure to hit that like button. Oh yeah, Ryan, before we get off for the briefing, we do have to name the duck.
We do?
Yep, because it is Sunday. We did say next Sunday.
I forgot about that.
Yep. And Julie's not here for it.
Oh, we should wait for her, though.
She's off until severe weather coverage for later.
I feel like we should just wait for Julie because she's the one who actually got it. It's only fair.
Up to you. It's your duck.
Let's wait until Julie's on here. I know she'd appreciate that.
Yes, yellow slight risk is the best chance for a tornado tonight. Brief spin up tornado. But again, anywhere in that slight risk could be using the wording later where treat the damaging winds as if it was a weak tornado. It just depends.
We hope we don't use that wording tonight, but we may have to.
Gotcha. Looks like majority are saying we should wait for Julie, so that's fine.
Yeah. You guys want to go vote on the names? It's a post actually in the community, Michigan Storm community. I'll go ahead and pin that so you guys can find it pretty easy. But we have a naming party for the duck. For those of you who don't know, it's a Michigan Storm Chaser icon at this point. This duck, the mascot, I guess, it's become a thing here. But it needs a name, so.
Yep.
That post is pinned on the community page. Feel free to go find it, drop your name, and vote on the comments of the names that you like.
A lot of people ask about the timing again. Here you go. For those who are just tuning in. Preliminary, that's your projected start time, earliest start time there. It has 11:30 on the Western Shore, but it looks like at this point it could be closer to the 12:30 time frame. So again, we did mention in our timing post on Facebook that it could be shifted as much as 2 hours. So it could be on shore as late as maybe 1:30 a.m. But that is what we say could be the earliest time frame right now for each of those zones as it crosses the state. And again, that is if the bow can kind of like swing up and impact portions of central Michigan as well. It may not, but this is here just in case. So feel free to screenshot that. And again, it's pinned on our Facebook and our Twitter pages at MI Storm Chasers. Make sure to join our community page for the duck poll. It's Michigan Storm Community. So that's a group.
Yeah, the poll will be run here on YouTube, but name ideas are going to be submitted on the community post.
And we don't know for sure when it's going to die down. We can only tell you what to expect in terms of timing and probabilities. If we could, there would be no need for us. Or I mean, I guess there would because it'd be fortune tellers, but. Yes, community post is on Facebook. Michigan Storm Community, right?
Yes. If you guys are trying to get in, please answer the questions.
Yep.
Otherwise, it'll automatically be rejected by our automated criteria. To avoid spam, we have a lot of spam in there, so we're just trying to cut back on that. Please answer the questions when you try to join. Yes, Joseph, I think all of us have at one point.
Not me.
You have a minute? Okay. I think we all have except Joel. I can't speak for Nick.
I don't got that type of money.
Fair enough. It's been a few years, so.
MSC themed Magic 8 Ball.
I like the idea.
for all our forecast decisions, we're going to the 8 Ball.
Will Lansing be hit?
Outlook good.
Will the SPC upgrade? Yeah. We should do that. Obviously in good fun, but. Any other questions, guys?
Do we have any other model runs we can go over? Any FV3, RFS?
RFS is not uploaded in about 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So FV3, I can pull it up here. I have not looked at it, so it'd be kind of like going into this blind. Give me a second. It's going to pop out pivotal. 00Z is in. First and foremost, the FV3 is off. that's what it's supposed to look like at 9 p.m. That's not what it looked like at 9 p.m. Yeah, no, this is way off. Yeah, no, we're not using this.
Goodness.
That model's off in left field. Aaron, it lags a lot, even with 0 tabs. I added a third monitor, and ever since then, it's been lagging. Nicole has a good comment. Go nap while you guys can. I agree, Joel.
Mm-hmm. Take an hour break here.
Yeah, I think it's about time we wrap this up. About an hour or so of break time. So I think we're going to wrap this up.
A couple of people asking about the dark green area real quick. Dark green is marginal risk. That's a 5% chance of damaging winds and 5% chance of hail for what it's worth too.
Yep. And as always, in the bottom right of every single graphic that we post of these is going to be your key to the risk areas. So obviously the general thunderstorms is non-severe. That's your light green. The dark greens are marginal. Level 1 risk all the way up to a scale of 5 there, your highest risk. So you can always color coordinate via that scale in the bottom right of every picture. All right. With that being said, though, I do believe it is time we hop off here and take a break for a little bit.
They wanted to see the radar before you left.
Yeah, that's what's out there in Illinois. That's a pretty hefty QLCS notch. Very typical QLCS notch there.
Zoom out. Give the people what they want.
There you go. It's still pushing east.
Yep.
So we'll see what it does. Watch maybe incoming for portions of Southwest Michigan. We'll see. With that being said, though, guys, we're going to pop out of here, take a break while we can. We'll be back on here. Should anything be severe, a chance does exist. How big of a chance for what areas is still a bit up in the air, but that marginal risk does extend all the way up to the Mount Pleasant, Saginaw area. So definitely be aware all the way up to that point. But looks like going to be points further south toward 96, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Flint, south. So, all right, we'll be with you guys all night if we have to be. Stay tuned. Thanks, guys, for watching. Be sure to smash the like button on your way out. Joel?
You bet. Have a good night, everybody. We'll maybe see you soon.
All right.